If I could only think of how to cut you away, I wouldn't be so frightened or scared to be enlightened. It's kind of difficult to keep my mind on a day that I didn't really mind it. It's in my face, I'll find it. The fields of colors bleeding and it's so far from home. The thoughts keep coming forward, I wish I wasn't so bored. Does it really matter if I'm dying alone? I often try to fake it, what's in my face
Good morning, Vietnam, and all parts around it. You know where you're at. I should have adjusted my junk. Oh, the bane of men's existence. And their shit gets trapped underneath. Ladies, I know you get your own thing once a month. I'm not even going to compare, but still, the struggle is real. I'm glad I can share. What's going on, everybody? It is Hump Day, Wednesday. As I get adjusted here. And yeah, it's a lovely day here in Chicago. We had a lovely day on Monday. Me and my pal Jerry Vassilatos from Chicago Corner went out to Union Park, where they were holding a rally, and that's where they began the march for the day. We'll have all that coming up here shortly. Let me shout out everybody. What's going on? We got Rick in the house. Sitting on balls is so life. It is. It's not a good life, Rick, but it's life. Desert Mantis, one of our producers here. What's up? Good to see you, my friend. Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show. What's going on? Good to see you. Global Solidarity. Take and Max, Sarjay, a couple old pals. Good to see y'all. Who else is here? Kate's over here on the rock fan. She says, I already have my coffee. She's not on the East Coast, so she probably says coffee. I already have my coffee. I should be good to listen. Very good. Yeah, so, and Real Deep Dish saying Rumble looks good for a change, right? Hopefully we've got our Rumble situation taken care of, but you never know. Just like life, it can be disappointing at times when you least expect it. So thanks everybody for coming out. We got a lot to get to today. So let's get to it. Willie Bragg in the house too. I forgot. Good to see you, Willie. He had a great show yesterday. Bragland is back with Jimmy. I was on yesterday, so I think Willie mentioned he's on vacation and his parents are in town. So good luck with that, Willie. Hope you have a swell time with the fam. So I'll be here nursing this, whatever's in this. Oh, it's just water. It's just water. All right, so like I said, we'll get to the DNC stuff momentarily, but first we got to talk about nuclear war. Woo, 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 woo. So Biden, being the senile real life epitaph of Mr. Burns, has his nuclear strategy has been leaked. So let's check it out here. Oops, can't do that. Wait a minute. When the name of spaghetti sauce. There we go. This is from antiwar.com. Be sure to check out the guys and gals over at Anti-War. They have good breaking news, but also some good in-depth stories as well. No slant, just good stuff. So check them out, support them if you can. So Biden approved a nuclear strategy to prepare for nuclear war with Russia, China, and North Korea. This strategy focuses on China for the first time. Of course, because the Democrats, they have to compete with the Republicans to hate on China. And yeah, so President Biden approved in March a new nuclear strategic plan that includes preparations for a simultaneous nuclear war with Russia, China, and North Korea. That's according to the New York Times. It reported that yesterday. The U.S. nuclear strategy is updated about every 4 years or so and is highly classified. The Times described the new strategy as the first to examine in detail whether the United States is prepared to respond to nuclear crises that break out simultaneously or sequentially with a combination of nuclear and non-nuclear weapons. U.S. officials, including Pranay Vadi, an arms control official at the National Security Council, have made public comments about the changes to the strategy. Vadi said in June that the new strategy emphasizes the need to deter Russia, the People's Republic of China, and North Korea simultaneously. The strategy also focuses on China for the first time, as the Pentagon has claimed China could increase its nuclear stockpile to 1,500 within 10 years. Current estimates put China's arsenal right now at about 500. China's arsenal is still just a fraction of what the U.S. and Russia possess. The State Department said in July that the U.S. has Over 5,700 warheads, including 2,000 that are retired and awaiting dismantlement. According to the Arms Control Association, Russia has over 5,500 warheads, including 1,200 that are retired and awaiting dismantlement. Russia has over 1,500 deployed, and the U.S. deploys a little over 1,400. The New START treaty between the U.S. and Russia caps the deployment of warheads at 1,550. Russia right there. While the treaty is broken down due to tensions over the war in Ukraine, both sides have committed to staying within the deployment limits, but it's unclear if they will once New START officially expires in 2026. While China has significantly fewer warheads than the U.S. and Russia, a nuclear exchange between the U.S. and China could still be enough to end life as we know it. Yeah, they still got 500. I'm pretty sure 500 can do a lot of damage. Despite the risk of a U.S.-China war quickly turning nuclear, U.S. military officials are openly planning for a direct clash with Beijing and claim that the U.S. could win. The nuclear strategy's focus on China aligns with the Pentagon's 2022 National Defense Strategy, which names Beijing as the top threat facing the U.S., with Russia coming in second. And really, they threaten them economically more than anything else. But if they can't beat them economically, boom, boom, boom. Here come the bombs. Meanwhile, in our military here, there was a ban on HIV-positive prospects. But now the Supreme Court, I believe, is looking at this. This is military ban on undetectable HIV-positive prospective service members unconstitutional, with each military branch not expected to reach annual recruitment goals. The judge said it was puzzling the Pentagon would deny applicants. Right, just kind of like the Ukraine army. It's like you have your heart is still beating. Yes, you can move. You can hold the rifle. All right, you can join military. In fact, we will make sure you join military. A federal judge ruled Tuesday that, so it's federal court, that the military's policy barring prospective service members who are HIV positive, asymptomatic, and undetectable from enlisting is unconstitutional. Defendants' policies prohibiting the accession of asymptomatic HIV positive individuals with undetectable viral loads into the military are irrational, arbitrary, and capricious. So U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkema, a Bill Clinton appointee, wrote in the opinion. Even worse, they contribute to the ongoing stigma surrounding HIV-positive individuals while actively hampering the military's own recruitment goals. The plaintiffs include a gay man, a transgender woman, and a cisgender woman, along with the advocacy organization Minority Veterans of America. The collection successfully argued that the policy violates the equal protection component of the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment and the Administrative Procedure Act. We're pleased the court has eliminated the last discriminatory policy that barred people living with HIV from seeking enlistment or appointment to the military, George Nevins, senior counsel and Employment Fairness Project director for Lambda Legal, said in a statement. Americans living with HIV no longer face categorical barriers to service careers, discharge bans on commissioning, bans on deployment, and finally bans on enlisting. The Department of Defense argued that regardless of successful treatment, the military must decline prospective service members who present what it calls known risks. These risks include medical, financial, and foreign relations concerns. Brinkema disagreed, finding no connection between the policies and a legitimate government interest. In the 38-page ruling, Brinkema found existing Fourth Circuit precedent affords the Pentagon little wiggle room in a science-based argument. Yeah, so didn't know that was going on, that they were discriminating in that respect. But numbers are way down for recruitment because Gen Z and Gen Alpha are like, no, we know what's up, my friend. Yeah, so as we said, Monday was the beginning of the Democratic National Convention right here in the Windy City. And protests for it started actually Sunday night And I'm not really going to go over what happened at the conventions too much as far as like speakers and stuff, because it was all just a, Kamala Harris suck fest. I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear about that. The Obamas were there last night and some weird shit was going on. But this was some of the stuff that me and Jerry shot the other day from, this was from Union Park, and beautiful day out there. Couldn't ask for better weather. And this is people getting ready to line up to go to get in position to march. And very chill atmosphere at the beginning. Cornel West was there, had his little entourage around him, and some other folks there as well. And Jerry and I got some interviews. He's putting together a little something, and hopefully we'll have that soon. This, Can you do this? Oh, wrong button, fool. Old man tries to get out of screen, doesn't work. So like I said, there was plenty of protests outside. We're going to get to some more video of that in a moment, but inside, it was more about the pro-Palestinian movement right off the back. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, Russell Dobler from Due Dissidence was out there, and I believe he was live streaming. He had like some little setup there, and I walked up behind him and said, "I'm sorry, New York Jews are not allowed here in Chicago." And he kind of looked up at me. I don't think he'd seen me in a while, and he looked up at me like, "And it's Chicago. Am I going to die?" No, you're fine. Everything's fine. So yeah, that was fun to see him. But yeah, back at the what was going on at the convention. So, like we said, this is from Middle East Eye. Pro-Palestine movement makes itself heard at the DNC. Protesters in Chicago and users online have put Democratic Party under fire only a day into the convention in Chicago, and they're still pressing today. And this is just kind of telling you what kind of happened during the first day. The speeches by Joe Biden. I'm amazed he was able to stay up for that, because it was at night. And again, no party platform whatsoever. It was all, if you don't vote for us, you're voting for Trump, that bullshit. But the convention began with a land acknowledgement from leaders of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation Tribal Council, Vice Chairman Zach Pamami, I didn't practice that word, Pamami, and Tribal Council Secretary Lori Melcher. They took to the stage to welcome the Democratic Party to their ancestral homelands. Here we are together on our ancestral homelands of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation and our sister Potawatomi nations. We are also honor the spirit of the other tribal nations who traveled westward to this beautiful area. But many online saw the irony in the Democratic Party's ironclad support for Israel. That's the one thing on their platform that they wanted to stress for sure, which has forcibly displaced 1.9 million Palestinians off their ancestral homeland since October alone, as a testament to the party's inconsistent beliefs when it comes to Palestinians. Gaza was mentioned multiple times on the main stage. President Biden said he would keep working to bring hostages home and end the war in Gaza and bring peace and security to the Middle East. Wink, wink. AOC was there, said that Harris was working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home. That lady's tired. But she's not tirelessly doing anything. For those who have been waiting for the U.S. to revoke its unwavering financial and moral support of Israel, these messages are more frustrating than they are comforting, advocates say. Exactly, because everybody knows by now this bitch is full of shit, right? She came in, sold like the lefties a whole bill of goods, and yeah, and then surprise, I'm a shit lib. Who'd have thunk it? It was like Scooby-Doo pulling off the mask. Palestinian American lawyer and activist Noura Erakat said the speeches amounted to gaslighting. Yeah. Another user said that these messages are dangerous in minimizing the U.S.'s role in Israel's war on Gaza, which has killed more than 40,000 Palestinians since October. And like we said, the protests of the Biden-Harris administration's complicity in the war have been done both inside and outside of the convention. Sunday, a person stormed the stage during the DNC's welcome party before grabbing the mic and saying 150,000 are dead. You were funding genocide.
Y'all can do better than that. Mike, the money!
150,000 people are dead. You are funding a genocide. The Harris-Biden administration keeps funding.
You know, that'd be like busting up into Scientology saying, you know, you guys are in a cult, right? Nobody does it. Get the fuck out. Monday, a group of DNC members unfurled a banner that read, Stop Arming Israel. Surrounding members attempted to block the view of the banner with signs that read, We Love Joe in USA. Were they at a Trump rally? The audience responded with chants of We Love Joe as the banner was taken away.
Impossibility. Fair. Impossibility. We're in the grip of a once-in-a-century pandemic. Historic joblessness.
Asshole of the year, right there. Around that time, delegates reportedly used their We Love Joe signs, as you see, to hit pro-Palestine delegates on the head. One of those who was hit was Nadia Ahmad, who was wearing a hijab. They hit us on the head with We Love Joe signs. J.B. Pritzker was close by, and they did nothing. Even the ushers did nothing. They just let other people hit us and grab the sign away from us. Yeah, in another protest action, several DNC delegates covered their mouths during President Biden's speech. We wanted to send a message that we don't agree with what Biden has been doing. He's been funding the genocide of the Palestinian people for 10 months now, right? So, and then in the streets, thousands convened to protest against the party and convention, as we showed a little bit of what was going on at Union Park. As the convention kicked off, the numbers protecting the DNC were reportedly greater, or protesting, I guess I should say protesting the DNC, were reportedly greater than those attending it. Yeah, there was shots inside, I think, of just kind of like hardly anybody there, but it was like first day. It's like first day at Comic-Con. You're not going to have all the people there. But, yeah, so, and this was some of the protests right there. This said roughly around 17,000 people were there, I believe. At least at the park starting. I don't know how many may have joined in after that. So, but yeah. So that was on Monday, and then of course things getting a little heated in the night. Let's see. What is that doing that? I am having all kinds of weird technical difficulties today, folks. So sorry about this. Not technical, me being the technical idiot that I am. So, yeah. So, of course, as the sun goes down, that's when all the fun begins for the cops. The Chicago DNC protest video shows moment security fence was breached outside of the United Center. This happened during the afternoon. Chicago protesters breached a security fence as thousands inside prepared for the first night of the Democratic National Convention. What began as a peaceful demonstration turned chaotic and dangerous, according to Fox 32 in Chicago. During Chicago's second DNC-related march so far, just an hour before the march started, Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling told reporters, "We have no fear. We've had no incidents. However, that changed after 3 p.m." Isn't that interesting? Agitators breached security gates, prompting police to don gas masks, make arrests, and escape a local park.
Again, thousands have landed here to Park 78 on the city's west side. It took about an hour or so for them to march to this location following a nearly 2-hour rally that kicked off at Union Park about 1 o'clock this afternoon. You can see it right now. Demonstrators are now tearing fencing down. This is the first that we're seeing. You see it right here live on air. these demonstrators have torn the fencing down. They're now trying to hop over the fence, but on the other side of the fence right now, you do see security that have lined this perimeter. We see.
Yeah, and that really just amounted to a few arrests, but nobody got hurt or anything like that. So, which is, obviously a good thing. We don't want people getting hurt, obviously, but yeah. And then last night, over there at the Israeli consulate here in Chicago, big protest, lots of cop presence there. This is from Press TV. U.S. police arrest pro-Palestine protesters outside Israeli regime's consulate in Chicago. So look at this. So you can tell, like, most of these police action things happen once the sun starts going down, and then it gets a little darker and easier to mess with people. Hey, Gene, good to see you. You don't skip work, but thank you for listening. So yeah, I believe Pasta from Convo Couch was out there last night, and he was talking about the police line and stuff. So yeah, so there's that. So the violence broke out last night amid clashes between police and protesters outside Chicago's Accenture Tower, which houses the diplomatic mission, with a spokesman for the National Lawyers Guild saying at least 67 people, including 2 journalists, were taken into custody. The demonstration, organized by Behind Enemy Lines group, saw protesters chanting and banging on drums as one participant set an American flag on fire on the street over the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden's unbridled support for Israel's genocidal war in Gaza. As police officers loaded a group of detainees into the van, some of them reportedly chanted "Free Palestine" in a call and response, with supporters standing to the side outside the police line. Among those arrested was photographer Sina Nasseri, whose work has appeared in the New Yorker and New York Times. The arrest took place on the same night Democratic National Convention delegates formally nominated Kamala Harris as the party's presidential nominee. Chicago was witness to a wide range of rallies by Behind Enemy Lines in support of Palestinians in Gaza, and in denunciation of the Biden's administration's backing of Israel during the nominating convention. The rallies demanded an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, as well as an arms embargo on the occupying regime. See more there in the photo there. But and we've discussed this before. I mean, these protests are all well and good, but it's gotten to the point where these Zionist-controlled people are just going to do whatever the hell they want to do because nobody's stopping them, right? Like I said, these protests are great. They do bring awareness, hopefully, to the normies who are seeing that there's an actual genocide going on over there. But unless you shut this bullshit system down and get rid of the Zionists and, put it back in the hands of the people and true representation for people, they're just going to do whatever the hell they want to, till you tell them to stop and till you make them stop. The Scottish, if it's not Scottish, it's crap. The Scottish are done with Israel because of these, because of this genocide going on. It's from the Cradle being banned by Meta. So if they're Meta, whatever the hell they calling it, so they're getting censored by that platform. The Scottish government suspends meetings with Israel until progress made in ceasefire talks. Game.film, what's up? Good to see you. Hang on just a second. I have to do something real quick here. All right, we're good. All right. Scottish government announced yesterday or on Monday that it was halting meetings with the Israeli government until significant progress is made in negotiations for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. This decision follows demands for the suspension of Scotland's External Affairs Secretary Angus Robertson after it was revealed that he met privately with Daniela Gretzky-Eckstein, Israel's deputy ambassador to the UK. Robertson later apologized for the meeting, saying that it was kept confidential at Israel's request. Ooh, you think? The Scottish minister also committed to the decision that the government would decline any further Israeli invitations until it fully cooperates fully with its international obligations on the investigation of genocide and war crimes. Robertson also mentioned that he initially agreed to a meeting with Israeli diplomats to emphasize Scotland's stance in favor of implementing a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. The conversation, however, was not strictly limited to that topic, according to him. So, the Scottish government has been consistent in our unequivocal condemnation of the atrocities we have witnessed in Gaza, Robertson told the BBC, adding, "The reality, however, is that this meeting has been taken by many to represent a normalization of relations between Israeli and Scottish governments." Christine Graham, one of the most senior members of the ruling Scottish National Party, reportedly expressed her concerns to First Minister John Swinney, calling Robertson a liability and criticizing his poor judgment in agreeing to the meeting. This controversy comes after the expulsion of SNP lawmaker John Mason, who sparked outrage with a post on Twitter stating if Israel wanted to commit genocide, they would have killed 10 times as many. Ooh, yikes. What is going on here? As if Israel doesn't have enough problems with people protesting their genocide. Much like Ukraine, they're starting to run out of bodies to create dead bodies. As Israel recalls 15,000 reservists as casualties in Gaza Mount. The army is suffering 1,000 injured soldiers each month amid the fighting against Hamas in Gaza. Tel Aviv announced yesterday that it has begun calling previously exempted Israeli citizens to reserve duty in the army to address manpower shortages amid the ongoing war in Gaza. Yedawith Aronoth reported that the army is recalling 15,000 Israelis up to age 35 who had previously completed mandatory military service starting at age 18 but had received an exemption from further service in the reserves. They will be called to reserve duty in 3 stages over the coming year. The defense minister is instructed to recall reservists who received exemptions from service in the past due to force reductions and are still within the age range requiring service, their defense minister's office said in a statement. And this goes with the Hasidic Jews there too, who are traditionally exempt from service because of their religious views, but now they're protesting too. We reported on that a while back, how they're trying to drag them into this too. And it's these wars are killing, obviously, soldiers, civilians, but wars not there and around the world are killing a record number of aid workers. So this is from Africa News. United Nations says a record number of aid workers were killed last year. A record number of aid workers were killed in conflicts around the world last year, more than half of them after the Israeli-Hamas war started on October 7th. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said on Monday. Last year, 280 aid workers lost their lives in 33 countries, making it the deadliest year on record for the entire global humanitarian community, said Ramesh Rajasingham, head and representative of OCHA in Geneva. He added that, shockingly, this was more than double the previous year's figure of 118 and twice as many deaths as the yearly average over the last 20 years. OCHA said 2024 may be on track for an even deadlier outcome, with 172 aid workers killed as of August 7th, according to provisional data. More than 280 aid workers have been killed in Gaza, mainly in airstrikes. Red Crescent in particular. The war there is now in its 11th month. And meanwhile, this is from Libertarian Institute. Kyle Anselone, the death toll for Palestinian journalists. We told you last week, it was last week, 160. Now it's up to 170. A journalist was killed along with 11 other Palestinians by an Israeli strike on a Gaza school, pushing the death toll for members of the media in Gaza to 170. Yesterday, Hamza Abdul Rahman Murtaja was killed in Gaza City while sheltering at the Mustafa Hafez school. Al Mayadeen reported that 11 other people were killed due to the bombing, and as many as 20 Palestinians remain trapped under the rubble. Before the strike, 700 displaced Palestinians were sheltering at the school. The 10-month-long Israeli onslaught in Gaza has nearly displaced the Strip's entire population. Many Palestinians are now living in schools or tents, and they're bombing tents too. In recent weeks, Israel has bombed multiple schools, resulting in hundreds of deaths. Murtaja is the 170th journalist killed since October 7th, and at least the fourth murdered this month. Tel Aviv has been accused of intentionally targeting the journalists and reporters in Gaza to cover up the ongoing genocide. Israel claimed the school was serving as a gathering place for members of Hamas. They say that about everything, the hospitals, the schools, everything is Hamas over there. Tel Aviv has often used this excuse when bombing clearly designated civilian targets such as hospitals, schools, and aid convoys. And of course, the U.S. shipping more bombs so they can kill more aid workers. Delightful, right? Love, you're trying to help people, who are getting the shit bombed out of them, and then you get bombed yourself. You may have heard about this. Speaking of journalists, Richard Medhurst was arrested recently. This is UK in the UK where he's at. UK police arrest Medhurst under the Terrorism Act. Medhurst, a strong critic of Israel, was arrested and detained for 24 hours at Heathrow Airport in London. There he is right there. Syrian-British journalist Richard Medhurst was arrested and held for 24 hours upon his arrival earlier this month at Heathrow. He talked about this a couple of days ago, I believe. Medhurst stated via social media that 6 police officers were waiting for him as he exited his plane in London on August 15th, adding that he was questioned under the Terrorism Act, Section 12. He said, I believe I'm the first journalist to be arrested under this provision of the Terrorism Act. I feel that this is a political persecution and hampers my ability to work as a journalist, he explained. Among other things, Section 12 of the UK Terrorism Act stipulates that a person, quote, commits an offense, quote, if they invite, quote, support for a proscribed organization, expresses an opinion or belief that is supportive of a proscribed organization, arranges, manages, or assists in arranging or managing a meeting which he knows is to support a proscribed organization, or addresses a meeting and the purpose of his address is to encourage support for a proscribed organization or to further its activities. Other British journalists who have reported critically on Israeli, UK, and U.S. foreign policy have also been detained and harassed upon returning to their home country, including Kit Clarenberg and Vanessa Beeley, who is well known for her reporting from Syria during the U.S. and Israeli-backed regime war change. They're just going to continue to harass these journalists. If you're a small, I say small, if you don't have like a big following on like YouTube or something like that, chances are you might be able to get away with some of these criticisms, and just YouTube will just take your video down. But whenever you have a pretty large audience, they go to the airport and arrest your ass. These are not mainstream media folks. These are independent journalists, right? They tried to make independent journalists sound crazy way back in the day, like they were all UFO nuts and tinfoil hat wearers. And now that they have a a huge sense of legitimacy amongst people who were just burned out by the mainstream media. You know, now the authorities are coming after them. It's all part of it. It's all part of, you know, clamping down the censorship and, you know, forwarding the Zionist agenda. It turns out, like, you know, we've heard about the Israel and the United States being accused of war crimes. Well, there's also complicity in war crimes, too. This is from Common Dreams. Complicity in war crimes. Report names countries, companies supplying fuel to Israel. By Edward Carver. Very, very disheveled looking picture. They should get a better picture of him. Oil Change International yesterday released a report detailing fossil fuel transfers to Israel since its siege of Gaza began in October, arguing that the countries and companies responsible, which include the United States and U.S.-based multinationals, could be held liable for contributing to acts of genocide under international law. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Gabon are major suppliers of crude oil to Israel, as are big oil companies such as BP, Chevron, ExxonMobil, and Shell, according to the report, which comes from data that the U.S.-based advocacy group commissioned from Data Desk and Investigative Consultancy. Data Desk tracked 65 shipments of petroleum products delivered to Israel between late October and mid-July, more than half of which were sent after the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, ruled in January that Israel must take steps to prevent acts of genocide in Gaza, and that some of Israel's acts appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention, part of an ongoing judicial process. Corporations supplying jet fuel and oil to Israel may be providing material support to the military, aware of its foreseeable harmful effects, and therefore risk complicity in war crimes, genocide, and other crimes under international law. Irene Pietroballo, a fellow in business and human rights at the British Institute of International and Comparative Law, said in a statement. While human rights groups have long called for an arms embargo on Israel and progressives in the U.S. have pushed the Biden administration to stop supplying weapons, there's been less focus on the energy supply chain that makes the destruction in Gaza possible. The supply chain. The supply chain. Keep that in mind when you say to yourself, I wonder what we can do to shut things down in America. Supply chain is a clue. The U.S. supplies JP-8 jet fuel that's used in Israeli warplanes. The fuel travels from a Valero refinery in Corpus Christi, Texas, to Israel via tanker. A recent shipment on a U.S. registered tanker was the subject of controversy in Europe, where there was pressure to forbid it from docking. So they're expanding it now to hopefully try and put pressure on these companies not to supply genocide with these fuels. But we told you the other day about how Lebanon was out of fuel for power, and Algeria stepped up to the plate and said, we're going to start sending you some oil too. Well, they're ready to go a step further as far as like helping Gaza out once this is all over. This is from Middle East Eye. Algeria's Tebboune says, army ready to build hospitals in Gaza once Egypt border reopens. The Algerian president vows to send troops to help rebuild what the Zionists destroyed. And there he is right there. Kind of looks like Walt Disney once they unfroze the head, but I'm sure he's a good guy. The Algerian president declared that the North African country's military was ready to enter Gaza to build 3 hospitals within 20 days once the border with Egypt would reopen. Speaking Sunday during an election rally, Tebboune vowed to also send hundreds of doctors to the war-ravaged Palestinian enclave and help rebuild what the Zionists destroyed. Tebboune, who is running for a second presidential term in an election slated for September 7th, was speaking to supporters in the city of Constantine. Palestine is not the issue of the Palestinians only, it is our issue too, Tebboune told the crowd. Some say this cohesion between Palestine and Algeria is meaningless in light of the distance, but We are not far. But we are not far. The distance is only geographical. The hearts are with each other. So Algeria doing good things there, getting fuel to Lebanon and ready to step in and help Gaza, get their lives back on track, if there's any left after Israel gets done. So we talked in the show about BRICS and how it's a gradually forming alternative to Western economic models. Now, Azerbaijan wants in the mix as well. This is from I always say this wrong, Al Arabiya. Azerbaijan seeks BRICS membership after Putin's visit. Putin's like he's like the timeshare guy. He comes by, and he tries to sell you a timeshare, and you don't really want a timeshare at first, but then afterwards you're like, you know what, I really want this timeshare. Azerbaijan formally applied yesterday to join BRICS, the bloc of developing economies, the day after Putin visited the oil-rich South Caucasus country to shore up regional ties and secure Moscow's under-pressure trade routes. The announcement from the foreign ministry in Azerbaijan's capital, Baku, comes as the BRICS alliance has seen a major expansion. For over a decade, the bloc included just 5 nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS. Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates joined in January, and Saudi Arabia has said it's considering doing so as well. The club already includes some of the world's biggest oil producers and accounts for well over a quarter of the world's GDP. Its members, Russia and Iran, have had their relations with the West stretched to the breaking point over Moscow's war on Ukraine and Iran's regional policies. Business ties were high on the agenda during the meeting between Putin and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev on Monday, with Aliyev announcing that $120 million had been earmarked to boost cargo transport between the two countries. Putin increasingly depends on countries such as Azerbaijan to access global markets because of sanctions imposed on Moscow over its actions in Ukraine, according to political scientist Zardust Al-Zaid. That sounds like some sort of thing you say in a magic trick. Zardust Al-Zaid! Poof! And then a rabbit pops out of the hat. For Azerbaijan, retaining Moscow's goodwill is important for national security over tensions with neighboring Armenia, said Al-Zaid. Russia has been Armenia's longtime sponsor and ally since the fall of the Soviet Union, but relations between them became increasingly strained since September last year, when Azerbaijan's military took control of the Karabakh region, ending 3 decades of ethnic Armenian separatist rule. And I'm sure, Azerbaijan is not making the U.S. nervous, or the West nervous, but with more and more of these countries joining BRICS, it's getting to the point where they're going to be a threat, and soon. I think they're biding their time. They're growing it organically, and what happens in the future will be interesting to see. Meanwhile, Russia is saying, fuck your allergies, let's cure them. It's from RT. Russia to test new allergy vaccine. This drug is designed to combat adverse reactions to birch pollen much faster than existing models. Oh, birch pollen. Great at parties, when you snort a line of birch pollen, but, when you're out and about trying to get shit done, it really fucks with you. Moscow will start testing the first ever vaccine for allergies to birch pollen, according to Veronika Skvortsova. I'm Veronica. The head of Russia's Federal Medical Biological Agency, FUMBA. The vaccine is also designed to combat the effects of similar allergens, including apples, peaches, peanuts, and soy. Commercant reported. Clinical trials announced last week are expected to start in September and be completed by next summer. The vaccine, developed by FMBA's Immunology Institute along with the Medical University of Vienna, could revolutionize allergen-specific immunotherapy, according to the researchers behind the project. Existing treatments can take several years and involve dozens of shots and still only end up reducing the symptoms rather than eliminating them completely. What does that sound like? According to the researchers, the new vaccine would require just 3 to 5 shots to be effective. So yeah, and the allergy market is a racket for these drug companies, right? You know, they could probably cure it themselves, and they probably could have. It's just like diabetes. How Chinese have a cure for diabetes, and they don't want to hear it over here because, oh man, we can't sell you expensive or insulin that we made expensive when it's really cheap to make. You know, that's part of the whole changing, you know, biosphere, as it were, of medicine, right? These other countries are curing this shit. Meanwhile, the United States and the West are letting you buy shit to treat the symptoms, but not cure the shit. But, you know, of course, you're not shocked by that. I didn't know this, and I thought this story was interesting. Morocco apparently is the pot capital of the world. People would think, oh, no, it's Amsterdam. It's like, no, you go to Amsterdam, you go to the cafes, and they have like the, you know, the pot bars and stuff like that. But where the plants actually come from, I mean, obviously you got homegrown here and everywhere else, but the majority of it is in Morocco. Did not know that. Morocco pardons 4,800 jailed for cultivating cannabis so they can farm it legally. The world's largest cannabis producer aims to encourage legal cultivation of the plant and export it for industrial or medical purposes. And I just want you to look at this picture for a second. This gentleman right here, the hat is festive, but surrounded by all this deliciousness. Morocco. Morocco's King Mohammed VI has pardoned nearly 4,800 people convicted, prosecuted, or wanted on charges linked to illegal cannabis cultivation, the Justice Ministry said in a statement on Monday. The pardon aims to encourage farmers to, quote, engage in the legal process of cannabis cultivation to improve their revenue and living conditions, Mohammed El Jaroj said of the Moroccan cannabis regulator ANRAC. Told Reuters. This is an exceptional initiative that will allow these farmers and their families to live in serenity and tranquility and to participate in the new dynamic of legislation. The North African country is the world's leading producer of cannabis, according to the United Nations. In 2021, the government adopted a law that legalized the cultivation of the plant for medicinal and industrial uses in rural provinces in the northeastern Rif region so as to support farmers. Cannabis has been grown in this poor and neglected mountainous area for centuries, providing a living for between 80,000 and 120,000 families in 2019, according to official estimates. The law also aims at preventing the illegal drug trafficking that dominates the trade and export of the plant. Thank you! Thank you! The pardon will now allow those involved in illegal cannabis cultivation to integrate into the new strategy, the ministry statement said. Exactly. That's how you get rid of the cartels. You make the shit legal. Then who are they going to sell to? Right? No, you make it legal. You know, the states get their take. They get a pretty big take, you know, as far as here in Illinois. That government, she sure take a bite. But I thought that was so cool that it's like, okay, we're going to pardon you. Now you can do the shit legal. Right? You can do that here too. You know, there's a lot of people who are in jail for growing, and maybe not necessarily for distribution either. You know, just growing for themselves. These red states are like, oh, you know, genocide's good, but smoking that devil weed, ooh, what the hell's wrong with you? People in China, people in China are in China, because that's what in China means. It means in China. But that has nothing to do with this next story, because Chile, which is only a couple letters away from being China, at the world's largest copper mine, are saying, no dice, precious. Workers at the world's largest copper mine in Chile on strike over pay and conditions. And workers at the world's largest copper mine in northern Chile went on strike Tuesday after failing to reach a labor agreement with Australian group BHP, their union said. Unions have long demanded that 1% of shareholder dividends for the Escondida mine, which produces 5.4% of the world's copper, be distributed among workers. On Tuesday, their union said in a statement that a legal strike started today over unmet demands that also include shorter workdays, bigger bonuses, and compensation for total year's work. They shut it down. They shut it down. There's another clue, right? Supply lines shut it down. 2 + 2. Media reports in Chile said the company had offered the 2,400 union workers a one-off bonus of nearly $25,000, lower than the $36,000 demanded. Chile is the world's largest copper producer with annual production of more than 5 million metric tons, nearly a quarter of global output. When workers at the mine went on a 44-day strike in 2017, the longest in Chile's mining history, BHP lost 740 million smackaroonies, contributing to a 1.3% decline in the country's GDP. Escondida, which is an open-air mine located in Antofagasta, produces close to 1.1 million tons of copper a year. In a statement, BHP regretted the workers' decision, saying it had made consistent efforts throughout the process to present proposals which contain substantial improvements to the current contract, which is already one of the best in the industry. The company said it had activated a contingency plan to deal with the strike, but did not prove details. They leaked those details. Basically, their contingency plan is to go into a closet and cry and think about all their life's decisions made poorly. Meanwhile, in Nicaragua, they're banning NGOs there. It's from Al Jazeera. 1,500 NGOs in the latest crackdown against civil society. The move is part of a crackdown against groups viewed as hostile to President Daniel Ortega. There he is right there with his members-only jacket. Nicaragua's government has outlawed 1,500 non-governmental organizations, part of a long-standing crackdown on civil society groups viewed as hostile by President Daniel Ortega. The move, published in the official government gazette on Monday, also involves the confiscation of assets belonging to the mostly religious groups by the state. The Nicaraguan Red Cross and several Catholic charities are among the NGOs shuttered to date, with many hit by charges dismissed as spurious. Other targets include Rotary and chess clubs, really chess clubs, sports associations, and groupings of small traders, rural people, and pensioners, as well as Catholic radio stations and universities. They have not fulfilled their obligations, according to the Interior Ministry resolution published in the Gazette, which claimed the groups have failed to disclose a range of financial information, including donations. Ortega's crackdown on civil society, as well as the Catholic Church, has intensified since anti-government protests erupted back in 2018. In total, authorities have shut down more than 5,000 civil society groups, private universities, and media outlets. Last week, the government also passed a regulation requiring NGOs to work exclusively in partnership alliances with state entities. Moreover, last year, the government expelled more than 300 politicians, journalists, intellectuals, and activists, accusing them of treason. Al Jazeera has also been banned from Nicaragua and can only report from outside the country. That's right. That's the one Reagan fought. That's the guy Reagan fought for down there in Nicaragua. Good stuff there. And Boeing, you know why the company is called Boeing, right? It's because when that's the sound the engine makes when it falls off and bounces off the ground. Boing. That's not true. That's fake news. Boeing safety crisis hit 777, which is great on a slot machine, but not so much with test flights. The latest reported failure comes less than a month after the company pleaded guilty to criminal fraud over 737 MAX crashes. This is a file photo of an engine that will soon end up on the ground. U.S. aircraft manufacturer Boeing has halted test flights of its 777X twin-engine jetliner after post-flight inspections identified failures of crucial parts on 3 out of 4 test aircraft Industry outlet The Air Current reported on Monday, citing sources. According to the Aviation News Service, a titanium thrust link, which is also my nickname in college, part of the structure that mounts the engine to the aircraft, was found severed on one jet following a test flight in Hawaii. Further inspections found similar faults on 2 more aircraft. The Air Current cited 2 people familiar with the matter as saying, "Our team is replacing the part and capturing any learnings from the component and will resume flight testing when ready," Boeing confirmed to Air Current in an email statement. 2 planes almost collided. The 77X's engines are the largest and most powerful ever built, measuring nearly 3.5 meters in diameter and weighing 11 tons each. Well, you use meters for measuring distance, but you use tons for weight. Why not kilograms? What? You don't want to get too metric? Also on Monday, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration ordered inspections of another Boeing aircraft, the 787 Dreamliner. In an incident in March, a 787 jet went into a sudden midair dive, leaving more than 50 passengers injured. A number of flaws have been discovered in Boeing aircraft in recent months, leading to safety concerns and investigations. And we told you about J.D. Vance's plane had to make an emergency landing in Milwaukee, not to pick up any Schlitz, but because of the door thing. I think the door is another problem that they have with that shit too. Oh boy. I don't know how you feel about RFK. I don't really care. Electoral politics is just not going to work. For us, anyway, under the current system, I can't stress that enough. But if you're paying attention, you should also pay attention to all the bullshit that's going on and who's at the center of the current bullshit. It's your buddy RFK Jr.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things they think are true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
RFK Jr. campaign considering joining forces with Trump. Wah, 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 wah. What's up, Anonymous? Good to see you. And Kelly Arnett. Thank you. Good to see you as well. So yeah, this is from RT. So of course he's running. He tried to run as a Democrat. They wouldn't let him in the primaries. And then he said he was going to be independent. And now he's considering joining forces with Trump. By remaining in the race, Kennedy is hurting the Republican nominee's chances of winning, his vice presidential candidate admitted. I'm not playing that video of his vice presidential candidate because she has a serious voice fry, and I'm just allergic to voice fry, so I'm not going to play that. But it's out there if you want to hear her talk. RFK Jr. is weighing whether to end his third-party presidential campaign and endorse Donald Trump, his running mate Nicole Shanahan said yesterday. With Kennedy struggling to get his name on the ballot in several key states and his campaign hemorrhaging money, Shanahan told the Impact Theory podcast on Tuesday that the former Democrat had come to a crossroads. There's 2 options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Tim Walz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, she said. Or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we explain to our base why we're making this decision, she continued, adding that the choice is not easy. Kennedy announced last October that he would run for president as an independent candidate, ending his bid to challenge President Joe Biden in the Democratic Party's primary elections. So I never got on the RFK bandwagon. Like I said, for one thing, electoral politics is bullshit. You're just wasting your time. And 2, he's a supporter of Israel. He's big time. Which is interesting. If he had been pro-Palestinian, it may have been a different story for him in his campaign. But, not everybody that sides with Israel is going to win their elections. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, the FBI is trying to get Iran as a talking point. You've heard this song and dance before. FBI confident Iran tried to interfere in U.S. election. Tehran used social engineering to gain direct access to the campaigns of both presidential candidates, the agency has claimed, with no evidence. The U.S. intelligence community is, quote, confident that Iran tried to hack the presidential campaigns of Republican nominee Donald Trump, U.S. President Joe Biden, and his Vice President Kamala Harris. The FBI and several other agencies have said, these are the same other agencies that said Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. Iran has denied the allegation and has challenged the U.S. to provide evidence. The FBI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, man, it's just too much bureaucracy, released a joint statement on Monday accusing Iran of long-running attempts to stoke discord and undermine confidence in our democratic institutions. It did the same thing with Russia, right? Remember the Bernie memes, the Buff Bernie memes? They said that Buff Bernie did not change anybody's mind over the election, okay? And now it looks like I don't know, maybe they're going to do Buff Bernie again. I don't know. The intelligence community is confident that the Iranians have, through social engineering and other efforts, sought access to individuals with direct access to the presidential campaigns of both political parties, the agency said. These activities included thefts and disclosures and sought to influence the U.S. election process, the agencies alleged. They claim that the approach is not new, neither is theirs, and that Iran and Russia had both previously engaged in such activities. Moscow has consistently denied allegations of election meddling. So, yes, we've definitely heard this song and dance many, many times, how the three-letter agencies are like, look over there, look over there. And it turned out that the DNC server wasn't hacked. It was technically it wasn't possible that it was hacked. It was more of a, probably Seth Rich had done it, had taken the information, and well, you know what happened to him? He was robbed, but none of his money was taken. How's that work? What kind of robbery is that? Your favorite Taylor Swift. You didn't think you were going to get a Taylor Swift story on here. Well, you could thank your lucky stars, Mr. or Miss, or whatever you are. Fresh warnings of election deepfakes after Trump's Taylor Swift stunt. Says from Common Dreams, Julia Conley. The potential harms to our society that could result from such misinformation, including abuses of our elections, are wide-reaching and immensely damaging. U.S. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's posting of artificial intelligence-generated images suggesting pop star Taylor Swift had endorsed him earned him the ridicule of Swift's fans and journalists this week, but at least one pro-democracy watchdog warned that the incident served as a reminder that regulators must act with much more urgency to stop such behavior. On Sunday, Trump used his Truth Social account to share the AI-generated images known as deepfakes, one of which showed Swift dressed up as Uncle Sam with the caption, "Taylor wants you to vote for Donald Trump." Others showed people wearing shirts that read, "Swifties for Trump." Trump wrote, "I accept," in his post, sharing the images suggesting he was accepting a formal endorsement. The AI-generated deepfakes of Taylor Swift are yet another example of AI's power to create misinformation that deceives and defrauds voters, said Lisa Gilbert, co-president of Public Citizen. The potential harms to our society that could result from such misinformation, including abuses of our elections, are wide-reaching and immensely damaging. The images represent the latest escalation in Trump's fixation with Swift, who has made headlines over the last year with her record-breaking Eras Tour, and who publicly supported President Joe Biden in 2020. So, and far-right commentators melted down earlier this year as misinformation and baseless conspiracy theories spread about Swift and her boyfriend, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, being part of a deep state plan to secure a Democratic victory in November. Well, Taylor Swift is definitely Illuminati, or, her and Jay-Z, If you don't believe that, then, I don't really blame you. but chances are they're probably Illuminati. Or if they've been bad, Illuminati. Delicious. Well, I think somebody in the chat today mentioned that it's World Senior Citizens Day. So if you're a senior citizen, congratulations. But unfortunately, one person is not going to be celebrating today because the world's oldest person, Maria Brañas, has died at the age of 117. A sprightly resident of Spain's Catalonia region, Brañas lived through 2 world wars and numerous events of historical importance. Here she is blowing out a candle, wishing someone would put her out of her misery. Brañas, who was the world's oldest living person, died in a Spanish nursing home at the age of 117. She lived through 2 world wars and numerous events of historical importance. She was born in 1907, I think. A spokesperson for the nursing home in her official social media account said on Tuesday that Brañas had passed away in her sleep. This was after Kane Tanaka died at 119. And a lot of times these people are living to 120, and you find out that they've been smoking cigars and drinking whiskey their whole life. And you're like, what the fuck? And everybody else who's being healthy, they're dying at 50, something like that. The Guinness World Records had declared her the oldest living person in January. So 117. So now that she's no longer with us, I am now the oldest person in the world. Where's Guinness? Don't send me the book, send me the money. Here's something, if in our crazy economic woes that we're having here, it's gotten to the point where it's iPhones for groceries, more or less. This is from Yahoo Finance, of all places. We believe that rag. Costco will give you free groceries for your old electronics. Here's what to do. Imagine trading in stuff you don't want anymore to get groceries. It's called a pawn shop. Talk about a budget-friendly swap. That's what Costco offers through its trade-in program. This is not an ad for Costco, by the way, but I just thought this was interesting. And you don't have to be a Costco member to take advantage of it. Costco's trade-in program is a fantastic opportunity for consumers looking to extract value from their used electronics, said Dane Nick, the founder of that video game blog. How does the program work? Costco's trade-in program is facilitated by a third-party company called Phobio. That sounds kind of ominous. You never step foot inside a Costco warehouse throughout the whole process. Instead, the program has a link on Costco's website that will take you to Phobio, where you can select your device model, answer questions about its current condition, and get a quote for its trade-in value. You essentially assess your item's value online through Costco's partner site, ship it for free, and if it meets the criteria, you'll receive a Costco shop card. The payout can vary significantly, hinging on your item's condition and its market relevance. Shipping options include either printing your shipping label or opting to receive a box to ship your device in after you've erased your data off of it. Currently, the program accepts used Apple devices, including phones, laptops, tablets, smartwatches, desktops, displays, and media players. For Macs or iMacs, the models have to be from 2013 or newer. Samuel Davity, the founder of Tufting.com, said if your device isn't exactly in perfect condition, you should still consider trading it in. What many consumers might not realize is that even older, slightly damaged items can still hold value in this program. For example, a cracked screen or an outdated model might still bring in a decent return. Jonas Terang, co-founder of isbrave.com, agreed with Davity that getting something back for your device, no matter how damaged, is better than nothing. So if you got a Costco near you and you got some, 11-year-old equipment or less, maybe and you need a little extra cash, maybe that'll help you out, hopefully it will. And finally today, I know these shows just keep getting longer and longer, but there's a lot of news. I can't help it. The Swiss, known for chocolates and staying out of wars, are having an issue with munitions in their lakes, and they're paying people to get it out. This is wild. Why is Switzerland offering cash prizes to retrieve munitions from lakes? Why did the Swiss military dump munitions into lakes from 1918 to 1964, and why must they be retrieved now? Ooh, that's pretty looking. That's nice. Lake Lucerne, one of the Swiss lakes in which old munitions were dumped. That's pretty nice. You get a little Swiss vacation out of it, too. The Swiss Federal Department of Defense Procurement, Swiss, is offering 50,000 Swiss francs, or $57,800 American, for the 3 best ideas on how to retrieve some 12,000 tons of old munitions from the country's lakes, including Lake Thun, Lake Brienz, and Lake Lucerne. Armée Suisse wants to involve academia and the industry in the considerations on how environmentally friendly and safe recovery of deep lake ammunition could be carried out, according to a department statement. It is thought the operation to remove the munitions which were dumped between 1918 and 1964 could cost the government billions of francs. So why do Swiss lakes contain old munitions? And why is Switzerland so eager to get them out now? Some 12,000 tons of munitions dumped in the lakes over the course of many decades following the First World War. Due to Switzerland's limited space and high-density populated areas, it was considered a safe way to dispose of both excess and faulty ammunition stock. Just throw them in the lake! In some lakes, these munitions have sunk to depths of between 150 and 220 meters, up to 721 feet. In others, however, such as in Lake Neuchâtel, munitions are just 6 or 7 meters, 23 feet below the surface. Switzerland's not the only country that's done this. High munition dumps concentrated in seas close to Germany and the United Kingdom. So yeah, they're offering cash money. Come get the shit out of our lakes, please and thank you. They also are, in lieu of money, they are offering a never-ending supply, a lifetime supply of Swiss Miss cocoa. No marshmallows. They're not throwing that in, just the plain. And why would you drink Swiss Miss without marshmallows? That's just ridiculous. Unfortunately, that's the end of the show for today. We are going to be back on Friday, we being me, and another one of my fun shirts. This is a Comic-Con shirt, by the way, from the Brooklyn Brewery, Defend Beer, and that's a fun thing. Free shirt, got to show it off, that kind of thing. I want to thank what is it, Willie? You said Senior Citizens Day at Denny's is 15% off. Willie, I know you're not a senior citizen, but maybe with the white hair, you could fool them and say, "Give me my money, give me my 15% off, bitch," and maybe that'll happen. Hey, Kiwi Corner 888 over on Rumble, good to see you. And, of course, Kate over on Rockfin. And everybody else that showed up on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. Thanks again. And I believe, I don't know, Willie, do you got a show tonight? I know you did Braglands last night. He usually tries to do one on Wednesday night. And also Around the World, D and Friends tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. I believe so. And check out these folks here. It's these are friends of the show. You can find out where their shows are. And if you have somebody you want to promote, just let me know. If you know me on Twitter, just send me a DM, or You can email me, extrabulla@gmail.com. And news sources too. If you like, look, there's this local paper that I listen to, and they have some good investigative journalism and report on world affairs or whatever. You want to suggest it, just let me know. Okay. I want to thank everybody for showing up. It's been a fun day, sort of. I do have to say, though, one quick thing. After going around what is that, Willie? Highway 95 in Selma, North Carolina is 15% off at Denny's. And yes, there will be 8 p.m. live stream tonight. 7 p.m. Central. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. So after doing the running around with Jerry on Monday, it was a lot of I was working a lot of muscles that I don't normally work, right? Because I was the camera monkey. I had the camera here. And because I'm a tall guy, a lot of times you have to lean back and down, it's a lot of pressure on the legs and then running around and stuff. Whew, needless to say, I needed yesterday off to recuperate. So I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Still a chicken, just not a spring chicken. Thanks again. Have a good one. We'll see you on Friday, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
This is City Alpha 5! Woo! Damn good song, wasn't it, dog? You like that song? All right.